Welcome, Warhammers and Warhammies, once again. It is your lucky day. You have stumbled upon the best episode of Big M's Power Hour to date. Today we are joined by a club local, Cole. Cole, want to say hi?
Hi, thanks for having me on. I didn't realize I was going to get to be on the best yet. It's
Yes.
great. It's an
Yeah,
honor.
yeah. It's, again, lucky day. Lucky day.
Yeah.
So, again, I want to thank you for coming on. Whenever we were having the first tournament at the new Pittsburgh clubhouse, is whenever I got to ask you because I keep forgetting how, well, at least I feel that we are similarly minded whenever it comes to the hobby.
We both enjoy crunchy rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it is.
The only real difference is you're, I would actually call you a good player.
I don't know about that. I'm good at making you believe that, maybe.
What's that, Mister? What was that? What would you come into in at Nova? The last Nova?
Last Nova, I think it was like 18th before you took in the painting score, but then that dropped me because I'm bad at painting. So,
Listen, so the painting rubric is made by me. I made it, so all you have to do is put in effort.
yeah, but I'm also very bad at that.
Well, all right. So, like normal, we'll do the news. Of course, now in March they introduced this new thing, New Model Monday. I believe it was just for March, right?
I actually don't know. I'm going to actually be very disappointed if, well, I guess, yeah, if that's gone.
Of course, today the recording, April 5th, we did get a new model, and it wasn't March, so we got two new models.
Yeah.
But don't speak a word of them because they have to be in next month's episode. So,
Oh, darn. Okay. Here I was all excited.
all right. So basically, what the plan will be is we're going to go ahead and tackle some news. Then we're going to go ahead and tackle the new models, and then we'll do the rumor engines. And then, as you can see on the screen here, we are going to discuss third edition. There's been enough rumors and everything, and enough, basically everyone believes it's coming. So let's talk about it. What do we think is going to happen? What do we expect is going to happen? What do we hope is going to happen? So with that, let's move on to the news here. Okay. So going all the way back to March 5th, they showed us the Orc Warband, the new one. I forget, Cole. Do you play Underworlds at all?
I do not play any Underworlds. I have, of course, gotten models as everyone in the hobby has, but I have yet to play any Underworlds.
You have yet to play.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I have all Underworlds everything. So the next time we get together, you tell me which warband you like the looks of the best. I'll make you a deck and bring it along.
Sounds good.
With that being said, what do you think of the Bone Splitters? Or Bone
Uh,
Splitters?
right. I honestly, these four models, I think is what it was, that
Yeah,
they put out for it. That's definitely the look of the army. I
yeah.
mean, especially the shaman. Yeah, it's definitely some psychotic orc that's just like, yeah, no, this seems good. Snakes, yeah, they tell me all kinds of great things.
Yeah, I have nothing wrong with the Bone Splitter aesthetic, but it doesn't really do anything for me. So I gotta say the sculpts are fine. I think if you like Bone Splitters, I think these are perfect. But it doesn't really do anything for me. But I'm still going to get them. So
Well, then, success all around.
right,
That's what I
yeah,
hear.
exactly. All right. So here's been another topic that has been going on for way too long. The
Yeah.
Warhammer animations. What do you have you been following that at all?
Some. Now, I remember just falling in love with Astartes, and whenever I want to explain Warhammer or something lore wise as to what a Space Marine is, and to my non Warhammer friends, I'm like, all right, we've got 15 minutes. We can sit here and look at this. And there's nothing that you need to know, and you will know instantly these are some badass people, and they're going to kill everyone they need to.
Oh, and that's actually one thing I should mention here. Cole, you help run the 40K half of the Ligonier group, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we have another person that is not anti 40K like the other half of the regular crew of Strength Hammer. So
Well, that's why they're not here, right? They know that we're both going to be
yeah.
on, so they can't.
Oh,
Can't
that's
handle
right.
this amount of Warhammer.
That's right. I forgot. We got to ward away Neil and Dave. Bolter, Tau. Uh, I don't know.
Plasma gun. There we
Plasma
go.
gun there. That's definitely got him. We're gone now. So,
Yep.
yeah. Honestly, whenever I apologize, I don't remember his name, but the guy that made Astartes, whenever I saw the news that he was brought into the team, oh, talk about like a dream come true for a true fanatical fan. You know.
No, agreed, agreed. And I don't think anyone in the hobby that has seen his videos is like, why would you hire him? Of course you would hire the guy.
Well, honestly, I think Astartes looks better than the Warhammer movie that came out what a decade ago or whatever.
There's not too many people that would argue with you, I don't think.
Now
And if
I
you have not seen that movie,
oh do it now.
don't subject yourself to it. I mean, I don't know. You might not want to do it to yourself.
Well, so this is so now we're getting the Exodite. Now a Tau series. So the problem here's the problem I have. I like to try and stay positive on Chuck's channel, you know.
Man,
And on top of that, everything's looking great. Everything there's not one thing I've seen where I was like, nah, pass. But now we've been going on about this for years. Let's worry about releasing one show first. And then let's worry about adding new things.
yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, that's definitely something that on this front, GW seem to just let's grab a fistful of everything and hopefully something will come out good.
Well, here's the
It's
other thing:
kind
is
of
like it's a fistful of all these different shows, but I don't think we've seen an Age of Sigmar show yet.
no, and I honestly don't think we will until a 40K one is fully complete. They probably won't even talk about an AOS one.
I guess I don't know. I mean, this is a little bit of a larger rant, but like this is one of the things that I feel GW is extremely guilty of, where they always look at the cart, look at the horse, and go, I can't combine the two. I'm just not going to do anything. Because again, like,
Yeah.
that's why it took them to make Sisters halfway valid after 15 years, like, or even ever, some would argue. It was like, well, no one buys them, so we're not going to focus on them. But we're not going to focus on them because no one buys them.
Right. And then, of course, if you never focus on it, why
Right.
would anyone do buy it?
And
Right.
so, like, you had, I mean, I know that whenever going many, many years back, between the kill teams, the old one and the new one, there was a fan made kill team. And someone put a lot of time and efforts into the Sisters of Battle codex. And they were so much fun to play. And that's also same thing. They did the same thing with Death Watch. But both of them were so much fun to play. And Ruins of Herald or Herald of Ruins. I forget what it was called, but
I don't know. You lost me there.
oh yeah, it was like so. So Kill Team is incredibly old, but it was something that people really loved. So there was literally a fan made version of Kill Team that was super fun. I like the official version, of course, better,
Right.
but it was like people are sitting there going, "We really want Sisters." Well, maybe if people bought it. Well, it's 10 really, really crappy looking metal models for $100.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah.
And
I
so-
feel like that's something all the Eldar players are soon going to be saying the same, if I'm
Right.
honest with you.
Right. I
Their
mean,
models are thankfully plastic, but
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
how old?
right. And so that's kind of what it is. It's like they focus on what sells and everything else kind of falls to chaff. And it's like 40K does really well. Well, does 40K, I mean, of course 40K does really well because it has decades of push. And honestly, I feel like Age of Sigmar could be up there as well if they pushed it. But it's like,
Yeah, you're not wrong. I agree with you there, and I feel like in a way they are, especially if you look at the models we've been
yes,
getting over on AOS side as of late.
yes. Well,
I
that's the
feel like
thing.
we've gotten the better end of that whole deal as of late.
The release schedule has definitely been extremely pro AOS.
Agreed.
But then anytime there's any public anything, it's always, hey, 40K, or oh, by the way, we came out with that new the new Warhammer Fantasy video game.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll see. Again, I'm sure we'll get some Warhammer Fantasy animations, and then eventually we'll get Age of Sigmar. Oh, could you imagine though if they would do End Times?
Oh, I can't. I mean, I don't know how you would handle that.
All right.
That would be pretty rough.
So that was okay. So that was a tangent laced thing that had almost nothing to do with animations.
It's fine. It's fine.
All right. So we got an article about the new Seraphon units, which I actually just built these guys today. Oh,
Okay.
they're so cool.
Yeah. Are they?
I don't know how you're going to win with them, considering that like most of them only have 3 wounds. So like, in for your reference, because all of the listeners at home play Underworlds, of course. You know,
Well, yeah, I'm the only one here who's odd man out right now.
you can very easily get your guys to do 3 damage in one pop.
Oh.
So it's like,
So what? Do you just have a horde of them then? Or
well, so whenever it comes to, so you do have 5 guys, which the max is I think 7.
okay.
The issue is essentially you get to move a guy and then I get to move a guy. And it's 4 guy moves per round, and there's 3 rounds in the game.
Oh wow. Okay, so you could be easily just picked up off the table before you're done with round 3 if you're not careful.
Yeah, pretty easily. So I love the models. We'll see how they play. I love them so much. I'm definitely going to get a deck put together and give them a shot. Especially considering like how easy they're going to be to paint. You know, that's
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, yeah.
yeah. Like I said, man, we definitely have to get a couple games in here because I think you're going
Yeah,
to
you
love
have
it.
to. Yeah, definitely. I need to learn it.
Yeah, you're going to love it, man. But yeah, I love the models. I love everything about them. I can't wait to play them and try them. And again, one thing I really like about Underworlds in general, the awesome cell phone wallpapers they produce.
Uh, yeah, they do very good art for all of those boxes. That's for certain.
Like whenever I was focusing on my Fire Slayers, I made the Fire Slayer warband my background, and like, so every time I looked at my phone, I'm like, ah, shit, I gotta paint more.
That's something I need to start doing. I've got so much painting I need to get done. Maybe
Oh, I
that
know.
would help.
Oh no, man, trust me. That's one thing I always try and do is like, I try and keep an image around to like keep it in my head.
Right.
All right, moving along. MetaWatch: How to win with or win against Mega Gargants. Cole, do you have any feelings about this article?
Um, I mean, you won the Ligonier group stuff and like have been very good. I'm wondering why you're not writing for this. This AOS coach guy, I don't know why he's on here. I mean,
Yeah, no, man. I'll tell you, Anthony. I don't know. I know you listen every once in a while. Absolutely love you to death, man. And I love your army to death as well. You set like this article just knocked it out of the park. Right now I am currently what am I? I think I am 6-2, I believe, or 6-3.
That's
So
great.
starting to slide. Starting well, the three have been three in a row. So
Ooh, okay.
it's very interesting. So like one of the matches I had was against Chuck at the tournament, and one thing I learned really quickly was how susceptible they are to mortal wounds.
As any small model count army turns
Oh
out to
yeah,
be.
yeah. I almost feel like I want to play like a more narrative or fun game where I
Mhm.
try giving them find someone that's willing to let me do some like house rules where they have an ability, allegiance ability where they save mortal wounds on a 5 up.
Okay, so some sort of death save style
Right.
thing,
Not even
but it's
necessarily a
only
death
for
save.
mortal wounds.
Yeah, just
Okay,
mortals. Like because
okay,
so like Chuck brought the new daughters list and brought shooty snakes, and so he
which
was. Oof.
yeah, he was pumping out mortal wounds, and you really couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of so round one, he had to get into turn, but in round two, he did almost 20 mortal wounds after two shooting phases. Well, the hero phase and then the shooting phase. I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do about that.
Yeah, yeah. And if he does anything like a half decent way job of screening that, you kind of go, well, I'm
Yeah,
gonna try and punch through.
yeah, and again, that goes back to reminding me about the long shanks rule, where
Mhm.
I get it. I just really wish there was, even if I could use a command point to be able to do Longshanks with a charge or something.
Yeah,
But
I
having
see
it,
what you're saying.
yeah, having it only work for
A
a
normal
normal move
move, it's
is
easier to box you out. Yeah,
right. But at the same time, I get it. I mean, I don't want to
right,
fight these things that can just move wherever the heck they want. You know.
right. And it's a very large base. You could very, I suppose I wouldn't want to say easily, but it's a big pie plate of a base. You can
Yeah,
kind of keep them out of there.
yeah. Now, this is one matchup that I'm waiting for is Suns versus Lumineth. I don't know how that's going to work out because the if you go with the primary temple of Lumineth, they kind of focus on doing their damage from mortal wounds.
Right.
But at the same time, their defense is very swingy. You either get lucky and nothing goes anywhere, or you have some bad rolls and they go down pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of why I like their temple that gets to have two of their what are they aether? I want to call them aether quartz, but I know
Yes,
that's
that
not
is
true.
right. That is right.
Oh, well, look at that. Yeah,
Yep.
just so that you can double pump defense.
Yeah.
But against Sons of Behemoth, you're still coming in with that -2. It
Yeah.
still becomes a 50-50 on the dice roll.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I mean it's so if you're playing Suns, read the article. If you're having a hard time beating them, read the article and do more mortal wounds.
Yeah, have
All
a
right.
minus to be hit. That's another good
Oh
idea.
my dear gosh. Any debuff and you're like, well, all right, we had a good turn.
Yep.
And then we had a super fun preview this month. I'm especially happy for it. They sure they said it was everybody, but I only remember the Age of Sigmar and the Underworld stuff. I don't.
Yeah, the rest of that didn't happen, right?
Yeah, the yeah. So this one. So what do you think about Soul Blights?
So I like that it is basically we get to revamp the old vampires army. That is
Hmm.
really cool. Uh, I mean, these look like the old Blood Knight models to me. I know that's probably the feel they were going for,
Oh
and
yeah,
definitely got me with it. I have to admit, at first, whenever this whole army was coming out, I was a little hopeful that it was just going to be all vampires all the time. But if we're going to go back to our roots, this isn't bad.
yeah. Do you think we've seen the bulk of the army, or do you think they're just getting the chaff out of the way?
I think we've seen everything that isn't like, to use a 40K term, like the elite units.
Okay.
I think
See,
we've seen all of our battle line and anything that can become battle line based on who's your leader.
so for me personally, it seems like they've been focusing, or at least trying to focus on bigger army releases.
Right.
It seems like KO came out and that was like, all right, where's the rest of it? And like crickets. And now
Right.
like everything else, I think I'm missing one that had relatively low, besides Suns, but I think I'm missing one other that was kind of low. But Lumineth. I mean, heck, I know it came out. Um, did it come out before KO? IDK?
Deepkin, yeah, they came out before.
But they still had a really nice release.
Yeah.
So I think we've only seen the surface. I think we got a lot more to go.
I certainly hope so. Put it this way, I'm hoping they don't do another Lumineth where it's here's half of it and then here's the other half.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'd be worried about. But hopefully we don't do that anymore.
So what do you think about? So I'm looking at the skeletons,
Hmm.
right? And now we're seeing them armored. We're seeing them some better armor, better equipment, and then we see the zombies are the
Or in just terrible shape.
right. They're not doing so hot. So do
Yeah.
we think that that's going to be like their new role? The zombies are going to be like the clan rats, whereas the skeletons are going to be more like storm vermin.
I don't see why not. I mean, just looking on models alone, yeah, I would certainly hope that those skeletons, as good as they look, hit much harder
Yeah.
than those zombies do.
And now, because I know there was, you'll have to, if you know better than me, let me know on this one. There was regular skeletons and then elite skeletons already, right?
Yeah, there were. Back
Okay.
in the old vampire book, I remember them having two separate.
I have a feeling they're probably getting rid of
Get rid
the
of our lower skeletons.
because even at the time, like lower skeletons and zombies kind of overlapped.
Yeah, no, I agree. You still just kind of tar pitted people with them, and even then, if that's what the point was, you just took zombies.
Yeah. Well, so are you one of those people that are trying to get one army from each Grand Alliance?
Yes, I've slowly been doing that. I've kind of broken it with the INFD after I already owned Stormcast.
Well, there's nothing that
So
says you can have more. You can't have more than one from a Grand Alliance. But
this is true. It's just my shame. That's all.
do you have a Death Army?
I do not have a Death Army. I was thinking that I was going to start Osiark Bone Reapers,
Oh,
but now I'm not quite so sure. We will
well,
see what flavor of undeath I go to.
is there like a game like is there like a play style that you would be looking to fill?
Not that I can think of right now. I mean, my Stormcast kind of hold that higher armor side of things. Deepkin are my very fast, movie, hit things. Corn is just worse Deepkin.
Well, now with that being said, I mean, if Stormcast is your high armor, wouldn't you want to go OCR Bone Reapers to see what effective high armor does?
Right, very good high armor. Yeah, I'm just okay. I'll just bring
Kick them
guys
when they're
back to
down.
life. Fine. Yeah.
This probably is going to be my death, unless they really botch the rules. This is probably going to be my death army.
I do not blame you at all. I think the aesthetic is definitely there for a lot of people. This army's going to sell out very
Now,
quickly, I think, when it comes out.
so years ago, whenever AOS first came out, and I was talking about, I can't wait for them to come out with vampires. I've had this like kind of this scratch at the back of my head that and this little voice where I don't want to do it, but I also want to do it where I mix in some fine glitter in the flesh paint.
Oh my! Go full Edward on them.
Now I take it to a tournament and I just agitate the piss out of my opponent. Screw the sports score.
And lowest on sports is Matt. How did you do? You're such a likable guy. How did you? Oh, I see. I
The
see it now.
sporkle.
Yeah. Oh,
So I had a friend.
yeah.
I had a friend in college that his girlfriend loved glitter. So he put glitter all, and he's pale as all get out. So he put
Oh
this
no.
glitter all over his face, and then got a white T-shirt and just wrote with a marker, "I am a vampire," or "I am a Dracula. My name is Twilight."
Oh no.
So he went
Oh,
as Twilight Dracula for Halloween one year. That's
that's great. Uh, I don't have that kind of commitment because he is still to this day finding glitter places he did not think he would find glitter.
yes, absolutely. All right. So that also the next thing that they announced was the next Broken Realms book, which they announced before Teclis came out.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Uh,
Chronological order means nothing.
well, let's see here. Well, let's see. Nope, we don't want none of that. Do they say that, or they don't say the name? Ah, there it is. Kragnos.
Correct.
So I ask you, what is Kragnos?
Well, from that photo that we had at the beginning of it, I am thinking Kragnos has something to do with uh, beasts, beasts of chaos. Assuming
Well,
either that or it's an event.
consider that there we go.
There you go. Found it.
So I I feel like it has to be a destruction thing,
Okay, agreed.
right?
That
Because
it's either a destruction thing or it's chaos in the form of beasts of chaos. One of those two.
and let me go down the list here. Why?
Yeah.
So we're probably getting. I know we don't know how many books we're getting,
Mhm.
but I can't like with how big all the events have been in all the books. I can't imagine we're getting four, maybe five tops. So we've already had two order, and we know we're getting a chaos. If
Okay, so we need to touch on our destruction and our death
right,
to round it out.
and on top of that, we might not have to talk about death because they got an entire campaign last year.
That's true. That's true. We might just tell Death, "Hey, I'm taking a back seat. Here's your
Right.
new army. Go. Be happy with that."
But from this image here, I don't see Beasts of Chaos.
Okay.
That to me looks like a Kurnothi.
Oh, okay. So that's the Underworld's warband, correct?
Right. That they
Okay.
released,
Yeah.
and they were like, hey, what's it? Shh, no, no. But it looks like a
Yeah, because
new.
those were released like 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, yeah, we're looking at a long time ago because that was the beginning of the last season.
Yeah. Okay. Huh.
Which, by the way, I'm like, they, in my opinion, I know there's a lot of people who are like, no, I just want my elves with cloaks and bows, and I want them to be in the forest. I don't want anything else. No changes. Like, and I'm like,
Sorry to
I
tell you, but AOS is real weird. So
right.
you're gonna
I'm
get
like,
something real strange.
yeah. I'm like, yeah. So now we have like what the dark elves became split off to go daughters and like what seems to be like dragon elves. Then we have underwater elves that are mer people that you can't remember, and then we have light elves that are the closest thing we have to regular elves.
Right.
And so now we have centaurs and satyr elves. So
Okay. And you're thinking we'll go destruction and we'll just completely leave order.
I don't know. I hope not. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to bring my elves together, even if it's
Right.
just a order army.
No, that's fair.
But maybe what this is, this isn't the destruction guy. Maybe that the
Right.
destruction guy's already in the city, and that's a Kurnothi looking over it. But who knows?
That's possible. They're looking over the destruction after the destruction moved through this ruined city that we see in the background or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just cannot believe that they're like, hey man, let's let this iron get stone cold. and then we'll
I
strike.
mean, that's fair. That's fair. Just hit him with a left hook out of nowhere. Never see it coming.
Whenever I assume that they're going to do a Kurnothi army at some point. I can't
You would
imagine
hope.
it's one
I
and
mean,
done.
a lot of people were very interested in those models whenever they first
Oh
showed
my
up,
dear God.
however many years ago. The problem is, it has been so long that it took me a second once you said their name. So I
Right.
was like, Kurnothi? Do you mean like in Sylvaneth or something like
Yeah,
that?
exactly. What I'm wondering is, I'm wondering if they're going, like, no, this is an analogy, not an exact comparison. I'm wondering if, like, these are going to kind of be the mortals to the Sylvaneth army,
Oh, okay. And
you
so we
know?
just kind of push the two of those together, kind of like how our orcs are all in one book right now.
Right. I mean, it would basically be like, these guys would essentially be the Blades of Corn, and then the Sylvaneth would be essentially the Corn Demons.
Okay.
There's some overlay. It would be really cool if you can go with the Karnathi army and summon in Sylvaneth as the game goes on.
I don't hate this idea. I'm following.
I'm telling you, man.
I,
And then
yeah,
keep Ilariel's War Scroll terrible and make her 0 points. Make her an allegiance ability. Do it. I dare you.
exactly. Yeah. Just make her the same amount of points, whatever it is you're going to summon in with her, and that's it.
All right. So then moving along here, they revealed the Dire Chasm, the Osiarch Bone Reapers. What did you think of these guys?
I think that the leader is very cool, and the fact that one of them is holding a bow makes me sit there and go, wait, are we going to give bows to Osiarch Bone Reapers later?
I mean, maybe in 7 or 8 years, I guess. Maybe that's.
I guess. I mean, I was sitting here kind of looking. I saw that. I'm like, wait. Whenever they reveal Broken Realms Techlets, are we going to see a war scroll in there for skeleton archers?
But
But
yeah,
that was not the case.
I agree with you. This main guy's really cool. I feel like the rest of the warband is very uninspired.
Yeah. No.
Um,
The guy with the great sword really doesn't do anything with it for me.
no, like,
The guy that's holding a mace. That's something that they don't have in their book
I
is a
mean,
mace. So
this
that's
is a
kind of
cool.
cool.
It's a cool pose, but like, there's nothing else going on with him. Like, I mean, I'm looking at the other guys right now, and it's like, okay,
Yeah. They're kind
like,
of samey.
I have no complaint. I mean, it's
No.
thematic for the army, but like, you know. Now, I will say that I have one complaint about this guy,
Okay.
and it's nitpicky. So I understand, even though this is like four rumor engines all in one.
No, that's fair.
This bend right here, the bend at the end of the haft, would make that weapon so hard to wield.
Yeah, I can see what you're trying to say there. Well, maybe what he's going for here is he one hands it half the time and he just kind of throws it at you.
There
He's
you
holding
go.
onto it with his
If he
right
can
hand.
throw
That's
it.
what I'm going for. Yeah,
All
he's just
right.
whipping it at you, long range.
All right. So I know this is. We'll see this guy again here, but are you a Necromunda player?
I am not.
I was excited for it because my favorite thing from the old Necromunda. Are you familiar with old Necromunda?
A little bit. I have a couple of old Goliath models.
So there was the Arbiters or the Arbites
Yeah,
that was Judge Dredd and RoboCop fused together.
right. They were your police system. Yeah.
I couldn't wait for the Arbites, and instead of the Arbites, I think it was the Paladors or something like that. And I'm like, they're cool looking. Don't get me wrong. I agree that they're cool, but like, it's so not what I wanted, and I was so disappointed because I wanted them so badly that like, I was like, I'm done with Necromunda forever.
Yeah. Oh, that's rough.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
no, these
so
guys give me the new ones give me Scions of the Flame vibes. So whoever was working on Fire at the time just kept working on it.
I personally don't have too much to say about the new Skitari or AdMech. What do you have any thoughts you want to put out into the universe?
Not too much at the time. It's cool that they have a new hero model that's not just a tech priest.
Yeah.
So that's something that kind of adds to it, and you can actually add a little bit more character to the army from a narrative perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. A plus.
Uh,
A plus sculpt.
yeah, yeah, help out maybe for smaller point games, but I don't know. We'll see how the new codex looks whenever it comes out. I
Yeah.
mean, it's already in ninth edition a very good army, so they'll be happy.
Uh, so what do we think about the new Sisters of Battle tank?
I don't know what to think about it. I think it definitely fits their aesthetic. That's really cool. But I don't know. I wasn't expecting this. I didn't know that they needed it.
Yeah, that was kind of like it's almost like someone just walks up to you and go, "Hey, man, here's a Pepsi." Like, I didn't ask. Okay, all right, I'll take a
Okay.
Pepsi. I didn't need one, but
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to say no to it or say anything bad about it. It's just, sure.
all right. And then what about the newest Orc announcement for 40K?
This video had me so excited for this new orc announcement. I almost sat there and went, "Am I going to start playing orcs in 40k now?" I
This
was,
has to be
uh,
my one of my favorite videos they've done to date. Like, it is so on point with the orcs.
no, this is exactly. I'm sitting here having a story told to me by an orc during that whole video, and I'm so excited for whatever he has to say.
My only thing is we had better see some squig.
Agreed. Where's our AOS equivalent, GW?
Yeah.
I mean, I need it now.
Yeah. So overall, it was a great preview. Let's see here. Okay. So we got the Sunday preview. So this was this past Sunday, or not just this? Was it? No, last week.
Yeah,
I'm so confused. Well, Curse City's coming out. Are
yeah.
you getting Curse City?
If I can get a hold of it, I would like to grab a copy. Yes.
Boy, I'll tell you. So I was trying to pre-order it off the website, and
Yeah.
I was accessing the website no problem, and then just as like it ticked over to whenever GW's about to put something up, the website was just like hard
I'm,
stutter.
sh- I'm sure. I have an excuse. I was helping a friend move, so that's my excuse for if I don't get it, I don't get it, and I did my good deed, so it's all right.
Well, I'm super excited because I always wanted to play Warhammer Quest and Hammer Hall and all that stuff, but like at the time, no one was willing to commit that they would actually play with me.
Okay.
Now everyone's like, "Oh my god, I need to play Warhammer Quest." Oh my god, and I'm like, "Okay, now we're talking."
Yeah, I don't think you'll have a hard time finding a group now.
Do you have a favorite hero?
The first witch hunter that they showed us,
Yeah,
that's it for me. Yeah, he's
yeah.
awesome.
Honestly, I
He
really like
looks
them
like he's
all,
a D&D character with a gun. I'm
but yeah,
great. Yeah.
I'm on the same boat. For me, it's Witch Hunter, followed by Noble, followed by Ogre.
Okay, I would have put the ogre above the witch, the noble, but
Hmm.
I'm with you.
Yeah, again, like I said, people, we are of one mind. It's
Yeah.
now for the hostiles, the friggin' Gravekeeper. Oh man,
Oh, okay. No, see, I was gonna say that giant wolf pelt is
yeah,
just, that guy's a badass.
yeah.
So I'm all into that.
Well, this to me is like straight out. Like they must have called up Del Toro and was like, "Hey, can you just make one model for us?"
Yeah. No, I saw that and my mind instantly went Dark Souls with it.
Yes,
It's just,
absolutely. I could not get the book, so hopefully it'll be at my local store because whenever the website finally loaded, I clicked on this and it just said error. And then by the time I was able to try and actually get it to load properly, it said sold out.
fingers crossed. I hope you're able to get it then.
Yeah. Oh, looks like okay. All right. So just to cover real quick, we got the next White Dwarf coming out. If it hasn't already come out. Um,
Yeah, I
so
don't know. I don't normally get the White Dwarf, so I never remember when they come out.
yeah, save here. Well, by the way, if you can find the old one, it has a boatload of free Warhammer PC games. So if you can find it, grab it. Otherwise, just keep your eye on Steam. But yeah, this kind of went over how to do, like, this had some like narrative stuff and some campaign stuff, and so it looks like it's going to be a good episode, or a good issue on episode. As always, they always have some fun articles here regarding Warhammer Underworlds. All right, and then designing the Crimson Court, the warband that really can get hangry. So this to me is probably the coolest designed warband they've come out with for a long time.
Yeah, they look great. That Enforcer model, actually, I think is my favorite out of the group. He looks like a bouncer who's just ready to tell you, no, it's time to leave. You can't see the king anymore. You got to go.
Right. Like, he's so comfortable with that gigantic weapon that most things wouldn't even be able to use.
Right.
I think in any other warband, he would be my favorite model, but the Prince guy, man, I don't know what it is about him, but I am sold.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with any of these models.
And I'm really interested to see how their mechanic works. I know I read it. I don't remember if they went too in depth, but it seems like they need to be doing damage in order to prevent themselves from getting hungry. And then sometimes you want them to be hungry, and sometimes you don't want them to be hungry.
Right. It's whether or not you want to take an objective, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, we'll see how it plays out. The internal balance of Underworlds is fantastic.
Okay.
And I meant to pick it up. I meant to pull out the article about Lumineth, and I must have missed it, so we're just going to go ahead and go to the website.
It'll be fine. No, it'll notice. It'll be great.
Okay. So real quick, we're just going to go over, since this is my main army, and I'm absolutely loving them, I just kind of wanted to go over my thoughts on them. So we're just going to go, basically just go like school letter grading.
Cool.
And if there's anything you particularly want to say about him, go for it. So let's go ahead and start off with the Colligrave. What do you think about him?
He's not really jumping off the page to me at all at this point.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a D.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that grade at all.
The only thing that he's good for is the tax that he comes with. There's a battalion that has you using multiple of the ballista, and I think he's the required hero.
Okay, then yeah.
And it's like,
okay, so he'll see play then, I think.
Right.
If that's the case.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how. Well, we'll get to the ballistas. So, Lore Seeker, what do you give him?
That's an A. I think that is going to show up in a lot of lists, at least to start with. We'll see if he sticks around.
Yeah.
But I think he has a home right now.
Yeah, I think he's super cool. I think he's really interesting. I was looking over I forget which spell it was. I forget who it was, but surprise, surprise, a teleport spell has come onto the board. So I came up with it. I didn't come up with it. It's not like a great mystery, but pop him on the back, capture an opponent's side objective, teleport a unit of Blade Lords over to him, so now all of a sudden they're giving him Lookout Sir, and they're also able to try and soak up wounds for him. That objective will not go away at that point, especially if he can cast Mystic Shield or something on them.
Right, something nice and defensive on everybody, and say, okay, we're here for a little while.
And like we were talking, have him go back there and drop an endless spell, such as like the Rune of Petrification or the Geminids.
Yeah, I think just drop Geminids on somebody. Turn one right in their face in the middle of the army. They'll be happy with you. They'll love you.
All right, the Wind Mage. What do you give him?
The Wind Mage, maybe a C. The big thing is that he has access to the new spells.
Yeah.
And thus the teleport. So.
Yeah, exactly. I would say overall, the general War Scroll itself I would give him a C. Mm-hmm. But if you have a specific combo in mind, of course that's going to vary. But I think, and you're going to hear this for basically all of the pertinent models, in a Hurricane temple, he's an A.
Okay.
What do you think about the Banner Blade?
Um, I don't know. Anytime I see a once per game ability, I get a little off put by something, and
I agree.
yeah, I'm not as big of a fan of his just because once per game you get to do something very, meh with some mortal wounds, and okay, you're done.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't care.
I think they could have done a lot of easier things with him. And I just don't feel like banners should be a once per game ability.
No, they should be a nice aura that's
Yeah.
always going off. I think they nailed it with the corn banner. That is just stay within 16 inches of me, get one more attack. Okay, cool. I like that.
Yeah, if he would have done anything like that, even if it would have been something like, I don't even know, anything, honestly.
Yeah,
So I'm going to give him a C minus.
yeah, I'll give you that.
All right. So Elania and Elithor.
I will be honest. I have not dug into the War Scroll well enough to know
You
how.
haven't memorized the novel that is their war scroll?
No, no, I haven't had 3 days to memorize that yet.
Personally, I would give them a B.
Uh,
I think they are good. I really think they are good. But
mhm.
the main issue that I have is going to be kind of the same issue I have with a lot of these new units, where it's like, okay, well, the army has essentially every time you look at a list, all the models kind of go into like these little, into like their own little herds.
Pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, all these new models, they're like, hey guys, can we play? And you're like, well, can you give me a 5-up ward save? No. Can you make my opponent use 2 command points for 1 command ability? Maybe, but I can't do anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. That's going to be the problem is that the internal synergy with this army times is just going to feel crap.
Yeah.
I can't take this model because that's not where I'm building.
Right. And again, like, everything that I look at is like, okay, are you better than 20 wardens with a 5-up ward save? No? Okay. Well, have
Yeah.
fun on the shelf. Can you do more mortal wounds at 30 inches without line of sight than 10 sentinels? No? Well, that you look real nice, but that shelf is really calling your name.
Yeah. Problem is these are nice high bars we're setting too.
Right. And well, speaking of sentinels, going over to the ballista, what grade do you give that?
So I think situationally it can be very good. Obviously, ballistas and a lot of war machines in AOS have been very swingy, and I
Hmm.
think this, if it's on its own, just you're going to take one to take one, it's going to suffer from the same thing. It's going to be swingy.
I
When you
agree.
take that battalion, it helps it.
Oh yeah, I mean, what are you
So
talking about? Like one model doing four attacks now if it doesn't move?
yeah, 4 shots if it doesn't move, hitting on threes. What you can probably ally in. I forget what the Stormcast model is, or I forget if they can even ally with Stormcast.
No, they can't. They're the
Never mind.
first
That
order
was an
army that
idea.
can't.
Right.
Um,
Well, scrap that idea.
I think I would give it a B minus by itself as a standalone, and an A minus in the battalion.
Right.
Now, I do feel like this wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been overkill to either make this do 2 wounds instead of D3, or give it the sentinel ability to not need line of sight.
Okay. Yeah, to let it loft a shot. Yeah, that's not a
Because
terrible idea.
again, like, everyone looks at the lofting shot as like, oh my god, blah blah blah. But again, if you're lofting, you're just looking for 5s and 6s for sun metal.
Right. Agreed.
And that's such a staple ability in the army that it's hard to give that up.
Yeah.
And so if you're taking this, you're not taking a Sentinel.
Yeah, that's a hard ask a lot of the time,
Yeah.
especially since you're talking 10 bodies versus one, just
Right.
in an objective based game.
And but it is 40 points. I think it's a 40-point difference, I believe.
It is, yeah. It's 100 to 140 is the difference.
So I mean, 4 shots
Yeah.
instead of, well, they're are they one
Four
shot or
shots
2
instead
shot?
of 10. They're
Yeah.
one shot apiece.
Yeah. So,
So, I mean, if you've got that odd number of points, because, yeah, they are a little bit more expensive for your archers than it is
yeah.
for ballista. So
Um,
they might find their way in there.
all right. Let's lump the named character and the not named character together because they're pretty similar. Um, what do you think of our new mounted hero?
So I think that I like the unnamed version a little bit better for the
Hmm.
cheaper points cost.
You know,
Uh, I don't think I get enough whenever I get the named character. I think that this mounted hero may find its way into the existing armies of Lumineth just
yeah.
for the spell. Uh, I don't think it really rocks the boat in any other way other than, hey, you have some other way of turning on your sun metal.
I think if he, without changing points, or maybe even only going up like 10 or 20, if you would have given him 8 wounds and a 3-up save, or if you would have made him have a ward save aura, like a smaller one, then he
Okay,
would have been
yeah.
A plus. But the problem is like
Yeah,
right now, it's like he's just kind of lukewarm bathwater. Like you said, the only benefit you have is that now you can save up you can spell out, you can save D3 units, which means 1 from not having to
right.
cast their sun metal spell. Um,
Right. It just gets the guys that missed it earlier, essentially, is what it is. I mean, he almost, I feel like, wants to be a close combat hero with that -1 to be hit ability surrounding him.
but it's 6 wounds. I'm not putting you
Right.
on the front line.
Exactly.
That 6 wounds almost to me it negates the war scroll itself. I I feel like if they could have, if they would have made it a little bit more survivable, A plus. And like I said though, in order to make it A plus, he has to give a ward save because
Right. He needs to do something other than turn on sun metal.
the wardens. I don't know how. I know you're looking at him, um, but have you played
Yeah.
against them?
Yeah, I've played against them.
Have you been able to attack them with and without the ward save?
I've never attacked them with the ward save. I am terrified of what that would look like because suddenly, oh, we're gonna also have a 5-up after all this.
Yeah,
It's gonna hurt.
right. And so like in one of the games where I played against Chuck with his Slanesh, I had the battle went in a way I didn't intend for it to, which is never a good sign for Lumineth. But one block of fading wardens went out past my buff range. And
Suddenly they disappeared.
right. And it's like, okay, so they really need everything that Teclis gives them.
Right.
They either need the Teclis buffs or they need the Cathalar buffs. Like they need to be buffed, and they need to be buffed hard. And so like whenever you do that kind of internal synergy, because he's clearly supposed to be kind of the okay, I'm not going to take Teclis, so I'll take the Regent instead. You know,
Agreed. Yeah, that's
and
definitely what they were going for with him.
but yeah, sure. I guess I can take probably another unit and a half of wardens.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I said, we'll see. Everything like this army is so hard and in the air that it is almost too hard to kind of go through in your mind. So we'll see. We'll see.
Right.
All right. So moving along. Severeth.
The bane of 5-wound heroes everywhere.
What letter grade do you give him?
I think that he is. it's difficult because so much of his ability just relies on movement.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be more of what kind of a player are you
Mm-hmm.
to tell me what I would give him. I think just if I were to hand this to somebody that I don't know what their skill is, I give them a B just because I know that person will know, hey, that guy has a 5 wound, 6 wound hero in the back. I'm going to kill it. If you're very good and you know how to manipulate pile-ins and things like that, I think he has the possibility of going to an A. Now his problem is that I think 300 points is steep for this army.
Well, let me show you why this one I disagree with you on.
Okay.
And there's one reason why. Ymetrica.
So you're locked in the Ymetrica if you want to do it.
He doesn't even synergize with the temple he's from.
I missed that entirely. Yeah.
So to me, he's like it's funny because like he's good. I think he's really fun. I don't think he's super effective. I think his damage is okay, but if you go against anyone that has any ranged attack,
Right. They just take him down.
yeah, he's just going to go down. So I guess I have to give him like a D or D plus at best. Now the
Okay.
unnamed guy, he can go in the Hurricane Temple. I would give him probably a C plus or B minus.
Okay.
And again, that's only because of survivability. The amount of
Right.
movement and the amount of ability you have to take those back objectives is going to be unrivaled.
Right.
But at the same time, okay, look, there's a block of 15 Blight Lords, or Blight Kings, I mean.
Yeah. What
They
are you
don't.
doing against it? Yeah.
They don't care. Right. Oh, no, okay, well, I won't go against the Blight Kings. I'll go against the Plague. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Against that army, you kind of go, oh, lost that one.
All right, so the big controversial unit. After having some time to sit and think about it, what letter grade do you give the Blade Lords?
I'll be kind about it and say a C. They don't wow me. Their auto hit being only one attack, meh. And then I've yet to see anything outside of the gyrocopter where you count the number of models close to you and get an attack per that it works. Maybe I'll
Um,
be wrong.
is well, so the Chaos Mega Gargant has that ability, but there's only one of
Okay.
him. Um,
Right.
there is a what's the Stormcast guys?
Decimators, the ones
Yeah,
with the axes. I can't remember off the top of my head.
yeah, you're right. Let's take a look real quick here. The Decimators. The attack characteristic of a Thunder Axe is equal to the number of enemy models within 2 inches of the attacking model uh, when the number of attacks made with the weapon is determined. So it's identical to the Blade Lords,
Yeah.
and no one takes them.
Right.
I
Exactly. Now, their ability to protect a hero might bring them up from what a decimator would be,
Now is that a?
but
Let's double check here. I believe it's a 5 up.
the Guardian thing, right? The Guardians. On a 2 up, you
2 up.
must allocate a wound.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
So
that'll
it's you add 10 wounds to whatever it is that you're protecting,
yeah.
essentially.
Because I said, I mean, here's the thing. It's like their damage is nowhere near as good as what people are fearing. They are a 5 up with 2 wounds, no mortal saves, no rend reduction, no nothing. I
Right.
think these guys are D, D
Yeah.
plus to keep Scenari casters alive.
Yeah.
They needed something.
Yeah,
Uh,
they don't have it.
uh,
If the auto hit might have been 2 attacks, maybe
I feel like I feel like
or two
there's
damage.
I feel like there's supposed to be a back to the war scroll that they forgot.
Yeah.
Like how in the world do the realm's greatest swordsmen and swordswomen probably in everything of all existence, did they not give them sun metal blades?
Well, that's the greatest part. Was I was talking about this with Jamie the other day, and we were talking about Sun Metal, and she thought they had it because their War Scroll, their melee
Says
weapons,
Sun
are
Metal.
called Sun Metal Great Blades.
Yeah.
Well, why do they not have Sun Metal then? What happened? It's
Right.
in the name of their sword.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Why don't they have sun metal? Why aren't they wizards? Like, why don't they have a ward save? Why don't they have something to like make them impossible
Yeah,
to hit in range? Like, there's so many things they could have done with these guys, and they just did none of it.
yeah. No, they're spare wounds for a hero if you want to bring them along, and that's kind of where I'm at. Maybe every so often that one attack per model nearby will get you something,
Yeah.
and good for you. But
Yeah. And I just
especially if you're playing against giants, you're gonna sit there and go, "Well, I can have 5 auto hits or 5 dice to hit that guy. I guess 5 auto hits it is."
5 dice with no rend. That's like,
Yeah,
I don't know. Like I said, I mean, even if there was been a buff when they charge or something, or even if they would have put them in the Hurricane Temple so they benefit from those. But I
I
don't know.
almost wonder if somebody said, "Hey, we've put so many buffs into this army. Obviously, we don't need to check. Some buff will hit these guys, and it'll be fine."
Yeah,
It,
I mean,
there's no buff that helps them though that I see.
I am. I think the thing there, I might be grading them a little harshly because like, I loved Swordmasters. I was waiting for us to get our Swordmasters, and we finally got
You're
them, and they just don't do anything.
you're a little hurt, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, like I said, I mean, I'd rather take the Stone Guard in the Stone Temple.
Yeah, I, I agree. Yeah,
So moving along here, let's. So the Wind Chargers.
fantastic looking model. I'm not 100% sold on them
Really?
personally.
Well, let's take a
Yeah,
look
now
here.
I think their shots are okay because what they get 2 shots apiece, which helps. Jamie, my girlfriend, is just completely sold on them though, but I think it's mostly because of the aesthetics.
So whenever I first saw the mount, I was like, okay, that's all right. And then I saw the clear picture, and I'm like, oh, that's actually really cool. And then I
Yeah, the
saw them.
clear picture was good.
Then I saw them in a unit, and I don't know what it was, but the unit was like, yes.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, these guys are friggin' amazing. So they have a 14-inch move on themselves, 2 wounds,
Yeah.
5 up save. That's pretty standard for this army at this point. 12-inch range with the bow. I'm never a huge fan of the 12-inch range.
Yeah, but I can see they're like, hey, it's more difficult to shoot while you're on
Yeah.
kangaroo back. So yeah,
Well, now again, these are supposed to, in my mind, I think they run more like dinosaurs from Jurassic Park,
okay.
where they kind of don't, like, their body doesn't move; it's the limbs. But I just hate firing from charge range.
Yeah,
But
no, I agree.
look at that profile: 2 attacks, threes, 1 rend, 1 damage. Hello, ranged brutes.
Yeah,
And then even in melee range, they only get 1 attack, but threes, 2 rend, 1 damage. What other battle line unit has a rend 2?
yeah. Now these are only battle line if they're in one of the certain temples, correct?
Yes, if they're in
Okay.
Huracan.
Okay.
But
Well,
yeah, I
makes
mean,
sense. But yeah. Okay.
these guys, in my opinion, I give these guys an A, if not an A plus.
Okay.
And heck, what I'll say is I'll give them an A, and then in a Huracan temple, A plus.
Right, because that's whenever they get +1 attack with their bow in close combat, correct?
Right,
Okay. And then their battle line as well, which wonderful.
right. So I'll tell you. So with all that being said, the
Hmm.
Hurricane Temple, I'm gonna
That's where
say.
you're at.
I mean, honestly, I still prefer the Wardens, Techless, and Sentinels. I still like that because one of the things I wanted from Dispossessed was I wanted that shield wall with the firing squad behind it.
Okay.
So I have
Yeah.
that with that original temple. But I do plan on doing one army for each temple.
Oh, okay.
Um,
That's really good.
this army, I feel like if you want to make your opponent pull their hair out, this is going to be the army. You're literally just going to be wherever you want to be on the board, you can be on the board. How you're going to peel something off an objective, we'll find out.
We'll figure that out whenever we get there. It's fine. We're there already.
Right. We'll figure that one out. But
With those sentinels that are sitting in the back.
right. Yeah, man. I'm just really looking forward to seeing where we go from here. Yeah, man. We got it in a good place. All right.
I agree. I think that helped that army. Even though people would like to say it didn't need help, it plugged up a lot of the holes that, if there were any, they're plugged now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right. So moving along here, we finally finished up that gigantic segment.
Oops.
Hey, man. Listen, this is for people who want to paint and don't want to have to click multiple videos. All right.
There we go.
So on to our new model Mondays. So they first started off with a strong reveal of a new vampire who is he likes his rats.
That he does.
What do you think about the model?
His rat tails coming out from underneath the cloak
Oh.
freak me out.
So-
I'm not a fan.
So I scrolled down to this. My skin literally crawled.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
If you can make a model that literally makes my skin crawl, you did such a fantastic job.
Yeah, shout out to whoever it was that modeled this originally. You did a good job.
So-
I know what you're going for.
So this is my take. So again, I'm always of the mindset of let's wait and see what the War Scroll says. Let's see how it performs on the table.
No, I agree.
I love this sculpt. I love this model. I think you can tell his entire story just from looking at him. However, I don't know how the hell he's going to be good on the battlefield.
Yeah, what are you doing with rats in this army? So that's the question.
I mean, unless he's going to be one heck of a swordsman, I don't know where
Yeah.
we're going.
I don't know either. Which I want to say probably all of the vampire lords are going to be one heck of a swordsman.
Yeah, yeah,
So what else do you do, man?
yeah. All right. Well, so I give him A plus. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, no, especially on the modeling, A plus.
All right.
Great. Oh, Be'lakor.
Uh,
I love it. I love it.
so they I don't even know where to begin with this one. I know we were supposed to keep it in the high school grading system, but I'm gonna have to kind of spill over into the S rank on this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the 40K and AOS differences.
No, that's great. Whenever I first saw this model, I only saw it with the Space Marine at the bottom, and
Yeah.
I got a little concerned for a second. Like, wait a second. Look, you can't just give us the Space Marine. Don't do this to me.
I think this is amazing. I can't wait to see his full war scroll.
Yeah, same. The way this guy looks. Oh, I'm so excited to see how he's just going to start beating the crap out of everyone.
Yeah, which is also great because like I said I've been tinkering around with a Slaves of Darkness list, and I've been focusing on Demon Princes. So, yay!
The Demon Prince of all Demon Princes it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, it's the Nakamura guys again. Yes.
So, like I said, these guys are going to be back. What are your thoughts?
Again, I get Scion of the Flame vibes. That hat has to be terrible to wear.
I
I can see what they were going for though, as a cult that just worships flame inside of this hive city, though.
I don't think I've ever said this on the Strength Hammer channel, but I hate this model.
Oh, okay.
To me, it is just to be as immature as possible. I think it's dumb, and you need to go back to the drawing board.
All right.
To be analytical, I think there has to be a point where, whenever you're making a model for a human,
Hmm.
no matter how fanatical, there has to be a line somewhere.
Right. There has to be, this guy has no magic keeping him alive and having his skull from frying. So how's he
Lighting
still
your
with us?
head on fire while carrying a flamethrower.
Maybe not your best choice. Yeah, I'll give you that.
And then, like, he has like a cage holding the brazier above his head. I'm like, there's literally nothing. No,
Nothing
pass.
here for you.
Hard
Okay.
pass. F. What do you give it?
I was gonna give it a B personally. I'm
Okay.
okay with it.
All right. Again, we're allowed. That's what this is
Yeah.
all about. And then we got another vampire.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I don't know why. Like, I get the slender lines and everything. She doesn't quite do it for me. I don't
Uh,
know why.
for me, I think it's a little bit of the hair, but I love this. I love the lines. I love the flow. I'm gonna give this one. I'm gonna give it a B.
Okay, I was gonna give it more of a C because I'm more into that mask deal that she's got going
Yeah, the
on.
mask is really cool.
Yeah, I'm a Harlequin player in 40k, so I like that idea, that aesthetic.
All right, and then the last one from last week. What'd you think of the new sister?
I, at first, I thought, yeah, she's in a very nice, powerful stance, but now I've just been looking at it more and more, and it feels so static, and it feels kind of dated to me.
I
Like,
can
this
see
is
that.
something that we did. I can, yeah, it looks like something from the early 2000s from GW. Like, I could see this model being made in pewter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially with that handle.
Yeah.
Do you play like D&D and Pathfinder or anything like that?
Yeah, I play a lot of D&D.
Are you familiar with Pathfinder?
I have an idea, yeah, of what it is, what a couple of the different class differences.
Okay, well, so the art style is obviously different since it's a different publisher. Her face to me is comes off as very Pathfinder, and I love
Okay.
Pathfinder, so that's a point in her favor.
Okay.
Now the negative, what I'll say is way too much cloak.
Yeah. Yeah.
It it's
I think
weird.
that might be what makes me feel like it's such a static model is I'm not actually seeing anything of the person, just this wall of cloak.
Like what's funny is I really like dark angels that wear robes,
Right. But
but
those are flowing a lot more.
yeah, I think it would have been cooler to see robes a little bit more, like a little closer to the armor and a little baggier, so you can still see some armor under it.
She needs a wind coming straight at her face and then
Yeah.
just billowing behind her is what it is.
But yeah, like I said, honestly, I think the face is kind of cool. I like the face. I'm not a huge like. I think the hairstyle is too. I don't know how to put it other than like face, hair.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like if they would
They
have
use a
put,
lot of hairspray. All right, that's what
I
it
think
is.
if they would have put some feathering in or some sort of, I don't know, something.
Right.
I'm not a model
Something to get
designer.
it. Yeah. Put something in her eyes, maybe.
All right, so now on to our palette cleanser, rumor engines. So it is tradition with the rumor engines that we go as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Go.
Something Stormcast related. Some sort of tools and potions. There you go. Oh wait, now I'm looking at it a little bit better. That was the dumbest thing I could have said.
All right, well, we'll see if this is going to be a new Apothecary Stormcast.
Yep. Ah, wow, that was bad.
I actually think this is too upfront. I don't think we're going to get an Apothecary. It's not just going to be an Apothecary. This is going to be like a terrain piece or a new objective marker or something.
Ooh, okay.
And go.
It's a Tyranid.
Yes.
That's all I got. It's a Tyranid.
Agreed. Go.
We might get lucky and see something Cadron Overlords here, but that's
As I
all I've got
play,
if we're looking at AOS.
I've painted a lot of KO, and this doesn't look anything KO esque.
Okay.
I hope it's something. I hope it's something new, Cities of Sigmar, or something new, Humans, or Order of Azir.
Okay.
Maybe it's a submarine.
Possibly. There we go. We need a submarine.
Go.
This is something orc related to me, the way this looks.
You think it's orc?
Just because of the wrap up to the right side of the page, but the blade itself is very, I don't know, it's very neat, so it makes me think more Iron Jaws if I'm going to go orc.
See, so I painted Iron Jaws, and their metal's very rough hewn.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, because again, the wrapping to me is what sticks out to me, and I say this hesitantly, Skaven.
Skaven. Okay, I can see that.
So we'll see. And then go.
I haven't got a darn clue what this is. Who has some giant net?
I can already tell you who this is. This is
ogres, perhaps.
No, this is new. This is the new 40k orcs.
Yes, okay. So one of the guys on top of a squig will be hurling a net at you.
Yep.
Or something along those lines. Yeah, okay.
Yep. That's the one. That's exactly what I think it's going to be. All right. So that wraps up our news. That wraps up our models and a whole nine. So let's get over into our conversation about 3rd edition.
Yeah, it only took us a little while to get here.
So let's start off with some of the basics. Do you think 3rd edition is coming?
Yeah, I see no reason not to. I feel like we've been listening to people all over the internet talk about it for the past 6 months. That it feels like it's coming.
Do you think 3rd edition is coming this year?
I think that might have been the original plan. Whether or not that will come to pass is a completely another question. I think that was the plan at one point, but in this world that we live in now, I don't have a clue.
Yeah, I do think it's coming, and I agree with you completely. I think the plan was to be this year. I don't know if it will still be or not. I hope it is.
Right. Not disagreeing there. I would very much like to see what we're going to do if we're going to do it. But if not, I don't feel like the game is in a terrible place right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, for me, one of those things where it's like, I just want to pull the Band-Aid off, you know?
Yeah. Just let me find out, or at least let me see behind the curtain and know.
Yeah, now I will say, I think my my biggest concern is that they're going to start adding too much.
So go a little too far towards what 40k is at the moment.
Yeah, I think that they're going to be... because again, like I said, one of the benefits of Age of Sigmar has always been its fluidity. Its simplicity of rules so you can have more complicated war scrolls.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid that they're just going to keep adding ingredients until the sous chef comes in and goes, "What are you doing? Stop!"
Right. No, instead of all these spices, we're going to use this.
Yeah. More allspice.
Yeah.
All right. So I have made a little bit of a list here. And I kind of want to get your thoughts on things and kind of what, like I said, we can break it down into I think and I hope.
Right.
You know, so the top of the list, table size. Are we going 44 by 60?
Yeah. Yeah, I see no reason not to, just from a marketing perspective, to make that easier on everyone.
Yeah.
That's the gimme question.
That's why I was first. I give it a 100% that we are going to see 44 by 60. Get used to it, and I don't want to hear you crying about it.
Right. Agreed.
So with that being said, I know 40K, whenever they went to the new edition, they saw a change in unit size.
Yeah. Yeah, unit size may have been more pushed by the new blast rules in that game than anything else.
Okay.
Uh, Outside of that, I don't think table size is what it was that changed anything.
Well, I thought there was a good points change to kind of also push down the unit size.
At first, it felt like it, but now that I've been looking at things and how I build lists now, I still end up with about the same number of units as I had beforehand.
Okay. So what do you think?
I think that in AOS, we will need points to go up pretty well across the board for everything, especially any sort of horde army. Like, I can only imagine a Bone Splitter's army, and you tell them, hey, you're losing a foot on one side and 4 inches behind you. Have fun.
Yeah,
We know where you're setting up wherever you can.
I think we need to. I think we need to. I think, for lack of a better term, is have a come to Sigmar moment
Yeah,
where it's like, are you a horde army? Yes. No, you're not. You're not Skaven. You're not Daughters.
right.
You can no longer have a 30-man block of whatever you're bringing. Like, I still think there should be some 30-man blocks, but I feel at the end of the day that they need to be few and far between.
Yeah, the fact that so many units get that discount whenever you go to 30 as well, I think is the main reason why we see
Right.
30 so often.
Right.
So if you just remove that, I think you change the game significantly,
Now,
especially a lot of list building.
what if they did it the other way? I don't think they're going to do this, but what
Okay.
if they made it so it's more expensive to take more models?
I ooh, that's something that I wouldn't think they would do so much. It's hard to even react to. Like, seems if you want an MSU game, that's how you do it, I guess.
Yeah, and that just came to me. That's not on my list or anything. And like I said, I don't
Right.
think they're going
Right.
to do that. Just if for one reason, the complexity of writing that out.
Yeah, that'd be difficult.
But I definitely think we're only going to see the horde bonus for the Grats, for the Skaven. I don't
For the
think we're going to.
obvious horde armies, yeah.
Right. I don't think Stormcast is going to see it anytime soon. I don't think Fire Slayer is going to see it anytime soon. I think those are out. Now, what about Battle Shock?
So Battle Shock went a very interesting way whenever 40K changed over in ninth. So it used to kind of work how it does in AOS right now, where you'd roll a single dice, whatever the difference is, that's how many your models run.
Yeah.
Now, over in 40K, you roll a single dice. If you fail your leadership test, a singular model runs, and then you roll one dice for every single model that is in the unit. On a roll of a one, another guy runs, unless you're below half strength, then it's on a roll of a one or a two.
What do you think of
Boy.
that?
So, if I'm a horde army, I love it. It's great. If I'm an elite army that normally would only ever lose one guy, I'm not as big of a fan of it. Personally, I don't like it. It slows down the game, and
Yeah.
I liked being able to say, okay, that 10-man unit over there has really bad leadership. I shot him down to 8 guys, or from 10 down to 2 guys remaining. I don't have to think about them anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I'll do that, and there will probably still be one guy over there standing, holding that objective, and just laughing at me the entire time. So I'm not a fan of it, and I hope that doesn't really come to AOS.
Yeah, I agree. I think Battle Shock needs not an overhaul. I think it needs an update because there's so many times where it ignores it. And this is coming from a Hermdar player, so
Yeah, no, I agree. There's so many armies that they have builds where they want to interact with Battle Shock, but
oh
there's
yeah,
so many armies that just look at you and say, nah, I don't want to play that phase. Thanks.
Did I tell you the what I thought would have been the simple fix for
Hmm.
inspired presence?
You have not.
I think right now in a single FAQ they could make Battle Shock 10 times more relevant if they made inspiring presence, make it so you instead of just saying, "Oh nope, you don't run away, it doesn't matter," instead you get a Battle Shock roll of 0.
Okay.
So now, if I blow away 20 grots, you don't just go, nope, the other 20 stay, screw you. Now it's, okay, I'm going to use Inspiring Presence, so instead of having to roll a die, I just act as if I rolled a 0 on a d6. And so then it's basically going to be whatever exceeds the bravery.
Right. Then only 15 run away or something like that.
Right.
Okay.
And even if you wanted to do something with you roll a 0 and give +2 bravery to the unit or something like that.
Right. That's where I thought you were going to go with it was, okay, use Inspiring Presence, your bravery becomes 10, something like that.
Right. And like I said, I mean, there has to be something that can be done to actually make a difference. Like that, it's because again, like I said, honestly, the only people that can play the Battleshock game right now is Lumineth,
Yeah.
and that's only if you give someone double. You make it so they have to use 2 command points, and then also make them roll Battleshock, including your losses. I mean,
Yeah. And then even then you go, well, I'm playing against daughters and they prayed, so
right,
that's not happening.
right.
Uh,
Yeah, I want to know. Yeah, never mind. Moving along. So monsters.
Monsters is an odd one. So
Let's go
what
right
I
now.
think,
If you see a monster on the table, do you care?
no, obviously there are armies where I look at the specific
Right.
monster and I say, oh, that's very bad. I'm more scared of monsters whenever they are in an ogre's army, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's also because they count as more models for holding an objective. Now, if I see that in, uh, I don't know, Beast of Chaos or even an Orc Ironjaw's army, where it's one guy going, okay, that's going to hit really hard.
Right.
But I just have to toe in 2 guys on that objective and it's mine.
Right.
So, not as worried.
Yeah. I feel like for monsters, I would like to see. So one thing above all else that I want to see is I want to see them pointed based on their middle profile.
Okay. Yeah, because you're definitely not hanging out at that top profile for long.
Right. And I just think it's ridiculous that, because clearly that's where the points are coming from. It's like you ignore the rest of the war scroll. It's like, I'm sorry, but if you have a monster that's prevalent in the fight, he's only going to be running at that
He's
top
only
rung.
getting
Exactly.
a turn with that unless you didn't get the charge off. In this case, well, you definitely only paid for the middle profile.
Right. Exactly. And that's one of the issues that I have right now. Additionally, I feel like this should be another source of where Battleshock comes into play. I feel like monsters should have universal bravery debuffs.
Old terror rules or something like that.
Right. Something like that. And then, uh, well, actually, let's go into the next point I had here. Um, oh, well, real quick before we can move on here, I also feel
Okay.
like if I feel like monsters should be the place where you can be swingy, where you have 1 or 2 attacks at threes, twos, Ren 2, 2d3 damage or 4 damage or whatever it is.
Yeah, no, I agree. These are the either it's going to wreck through and everyone's going to die, or you get to look at your unit of heroes that brought down this giant monster.
Exactly. And I think if you put them at a place where, at the beginning of the game, they are overpowered for what the person paid to put them there. But again, then you're paying, whenever you get to round 2 and round 3, that's what you're actually paying for.
Right. Where the opponent just goes, "Hey, I had a shooting unit." Well, you paid for what you're going to get.
Right, right. Because that's the other thing. Is like I know with again Suns.
Yeah.
Someone brings a shooty army. It At the Pittsburgh tournament, the my first opponent was a shoot cast list, and you played a shoot cast list. And if I wasn't able to close the distance, that was going to be a really short game.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, so like I said, going in, we're moving over to objectives, objective holding. So personally, I'm not a huge fan of number of models within 6 inches, or whatever the particular is. What do you currently? What are your current thoughts on objective holding?
I'm I'm a fan of it. I think that monsters are the only place that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I kind of like it because for the most part in this game, if it is a small model count unit, I expect it to hit harder than that horde unit.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping that I'll be able to clear that horde unit off of it. Now, does that always work out whenever that 40-man unit is strung back another foot behind the objective and those are the guys dying and not the guy at the objective with me?
yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't feel too good. But I'm
Personally,
okay with it.
now this is I guess controversial because every time I bring it up to somebody, no one ever agrees with me. But
Okay.
I absolutely feel it should be number of wounds within 6 inches and not just number of models, because I feel like a single Stormcast Paladin would be
hmm
better at holding an objective than two Skaven.
You're not wrong that he probably would be, especially we're looking lore wise.
Right.
Trying to think why would I not want wounds to be it? I guess. I guess hmm, all the 4 wound model units out there, with which there are not many, would be the only thing I'd be worried about dominating because they have such a small footprint that you can fit more of them in there.
Yeah. Now again, though, like I said, it wouldn't be a wound characteristic. It would be a wound total.
Right. So if you hit that 12 wounds that are 4 wounds a model down to 11 wounds, that's 11 uh, ticks holding
Correct.
that.
Right.
Okay.
And I feel like it's much easier to try and get the objective back at that point. I feel like it adds an extra layer of not tactics. I want to say it's almost more like it adds an extra layer of, hey kid, you still have a shot.
Well, it puts more important on actually standing on that objective with more of a presence. You're not
Yeah.
gonna just tow yourself into it and be like, okay, I got 2 guys on it, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And like I said, yeah, man. Like I said, we've played a narrative. I played a couple narrative games like that, and
Mhm.
it really works out. We don't really have an issue with it. But even still, even afterwards, people are still like, "No, I don't like it."
We're all old dogs. We like our old ways. We're setting them.
So we'll move on to the next one here. So something close to monsters, chariots.
Chariots. So
Um, so
I think they might.
let me
Yeah, go
set the
ahead.
stage for you here. So, in my mind, I personally feel like chariots is one of the most fantasy things. It's one of the most, like I said, maybe not fantasy as in a Warhammer fantasy, but like it's one of those fantasy setting type things. Like there's what, two, three chariots in all of 40K,
Yeah.
but in
Yeah.
but in AOS, almost every army. Well, no, I guess I can't say that, but a decent
Yeah.
amount of armies have chariots, and none of them outside of Slanesh actually bring chariots.
Right. Yeah. You just don't do it. They aren't good most of the time.
I mean,
Agreed.
I feel like they should be hit and run. They should be
Yeah.
like it should be that. Oh crap! How the hell am I going to deal with that?
Right. Yeah.
And again, like I
I
said,
just
I think it should be a part of the game. I think it should be like, okay, I probably want to get a chariot in this list so I don't get pinned down, or I can get those back objectives easier, you know, or I have one unit that doesn't get pinned down.
right.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm trying to think how you would do that. Just you want something that I guess would hit really hard. I guess just thinking from a historic standpoint, it hit really hard, and then you were done with it.
Well,
So,
I would say simple things. You can do it simply
hmm
with run and charge,
yeah, I don't disagree. That's something they should have.
maybe
Good old
roll
impact hits.
impact hits. Whenever you roll to run, either roll 2d6 or roll two dice and keep one.
Okay.
But additionally, on the retreat, you retreat with the ability like you're flying, so you can just go through a unit.
Okay, so long as the flying is models only.
Right,
Yeah, okay, I like that because you're just plowing through them.
right,
Okay. Yeah, that would really mess with a lot of backfield. How do I protect back here? Because he's going to throw two or three chariots in, and suddenly he's in my back line, and
right.
I need to remember that. Okay.
And on top of that, that also adds a new strategy to the game, because right now, with the amount of teleporting and summoning in the game, one of the things that people always have to worry about is trying to keep your opponent from summoning in new units on their side.
Right.
And if they do it right, you're like, well, okay, they know how to play the game. I guess I'm not doing that. But now, if you
Right.
have the chariots, now you have an actual unit that's job is go clear out the backfield.
Right. Go at least sit in the backfield and make somebody have to turn around and deal with you.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
feel like
And
because
good
again,
for you for being good at screening. I'm going to go through it.
right. So it's one of those things where it would be a single chariot. So the only thing it has is 5 to 8 wounds, 4 or 5 save. It's not going to be there, but it's not going to be anything that is going to devastate the
Right.
opponent's army. But at the same time, it's something that the opponent can't just ignore.
Right.
And I feel like that's one of the problems that well, it's not necessarily a problem. Let me put it that way. It is one of the giant gaps between newcomers and pros is that ability to screen and the ability to edge out the back line.
Right.
And really, a lot of the games, a lot of the high level games comes down to who can screen better.
Yeah, yeah. Who set up better during deployment? Okay, whenever you were given turn one movement, did you move in such a way that you still didn't give up your backfield? Yeah.
Yeah, and so this basically makes it so your deployment doesn't determine the game. So
Okay.
we'll see.
Uh,
GW,
Yeah.
I'm willing to. You can, if you're looking for any of this stuff, it's yours. I know I'm spewing gold here.
Yeah.
All right, so here's one that really sticks in my craw:
Okay.
spells versus prayers.
As a true believer of corn, I see no problem here at all. Uh, Prayers should not be able to be interacted with because my God loves me so much. Uh, no, I can see how this can get under people's skin very quickly. How you can't interact with a prayer, but spells, almost every army in this game has a way of interacting with.
Yeah, I So here's the thing: it's like again, coming from D&D, I have
Hmm.
no problem with prayers being what's the term I'm looking for? More reliable.
Okay.
But the problem is, at this point, what is the difference between a spell and a prayer outside of how you cast it?
That's a good question, especially whenever you get into endless prayers. You're looking at it going, "Wait, what? That's different somehow."
Right. Exactly. And again, don't get me wrong, Endless Prayers is actually on this list.
Right.
First off, can we please just call them endless prayers?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Let's not pretend. Let's give them all the same rules for how they stick around and go away, and just be done with it.
I I kind of like I just want there to be some sort of line of this is a prayer, this is a spell. Spells do XYZ, prayers do ABC.
Okay. Yeah. So prayers only ever give buffs, whereas spells can do damage or something like that. Is that kind of where you're going?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the sort of thing like even if there's some overlap, that's okay.
Right.
Like in my mind, Mystic Shield is absolutely a something that the arcane can do, you know?
Right.
But I think mostly you should have like spells, maybe put them in the realm of attacking and debuffing, and maybe prayers can stick kind of to more of the buffing. Or heck, even
Right.
if you just have prayers do or spells doing some buffing, but you go to prayers for the hard buffing.
Right.
I think that could be really interesting if you like, because again, are there priests that can? I don't think there's any priests that can pray multiple prayers, or like there's not even like any default prayers.
Yeah, Corn can for the time being, but I don't see that happening for too long. Right now, if they want to, they can pray 3 times in a turn.
Okay.
So they
Wow.
can do the one that's on their war scroll, the one that they get from the book, as well as an endless prayer. And I don't expect them to be allowed to do that for too terribly long.
Yeah, I definitely think that's an area that needs to be. We need something. We need defined rules. We we
Right,
need you to go back, figure it out, come to us, tell us what is a spell and what makes a spell and what makes a prayer.
right.
And then again, if there's some outliers, fine. If there's a prayer that
Yeah,
if someone can pray, like if there is a Stormcast priest, which holy heck, out of all the armies, how does
yeah.
Stormcast have like the least amount of priests?
Yeah, exactly. You get to actually see your god. You mean he just doesn't answer anything? Come on.
um,
Sig- Sigmar, you kind of need to get off your ass.
well,
Do
it
something
was
here.
it was a conversation we had before the show, before the channel started, where I said that the Sacrosanct shouldn't have been wizards; it should have been priests.
No, I can definitely see we should have a temple of priests. These are, I don't know, Sigmar's personal bodyguard, and
Yeah,
they obviously are the most holy people because they get to see their god every day.
right. And like they're like them being like, "Hey Sig, what do you want for lunch?" That's basically a prayer because they're talking to their god. I mean, like,
Right. Yeah, no, I agree.
all right. So here's going to be one that I'm going to be interested to see what you think about, because this is one
Okay.
of the ones where I'm on my soapbox by myself.
Okay.
Battalions. I personally feel like battalions need to be better. I feel like they should really define a unit's roles. It should put them into the elite tier, and no more of this single drop garbage.
Okay. So I can agree with you on the single drop side of things. I
Okay,
don't like that. Just being able to say, okay, every game, unless there's some other fool with a single drop list, I know when I'm going.
right.
I like the idea that you can build to get yourself down to like 4 drops, 3 or 4. I'm okay with that. Um, I
Well,
don't know if it needs to make units uber elite. If they
not
do,
necessarily
I think
uber
they
elite.
well, right, but it helps you synergize with the units you chose a lot more.
Yeah.
If they do that, battalions probably need to go up in points.
Oh,
I think what
absolutely.
we yeah, what we need to do better, I think, is we need battalions that include the entirety of all the army books, such as like, okay, let's look at Cities of Sigmar.
Hmm.
So many units don't have a home for
Yeah.
battalions in that book.
As a
If I were
dispossessed
to say,
player, I agree completely.
yes, you do. No, I think every book should at least every single unit should have a battalion that it fits into.
I mean,
I think we should
that
start
might be a
there.
little extreme, but I think we should do our best to try and get to that standard.
Right. Obviously, whenever we look at cities, we kind of go, yeah, that's a little much to try and do that.
Yeah.
But maybe some of the smaller armies, they have something. Okay, here's
Well,
a home for you.
I think for cities, also see episode one of, or no, episode two of Power Hour.
Okay.
I feel like there should have basically been one or two battalions per city and one or two battalions per race.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like the per race idea. That's cool.
Because then that way you have that crosshash. Because again, the way basically Cities of Sigmar is one of two things for people. One, it's a way to play their old races, and two, it's a way to just play all their old models.
Right. Just
Um,
mix and match all the old Empire,
right.
elves, and dwarf stuff from the back in the day.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I might. Ugh. We'll see. Whenever I run out of stuff, you and I might go back and talk Cities of Sigmar.
All
Um,
right. Sounds good.
but yeah, like I said, as far as that goes, like with the battalions, it would be. I feel like if you could further define the role of a unit or something, so that way you're only able to afford taking like one battalion. So now that unit of retributors is better than the other unit of retributors, or like that unit of liberators isn't going anywhere. Um,
Right. It
you
was
know,
a definite cost and a definite list building decision to take this.
right. And then, like I said, get rid of the single drop because I feel like this shouldn't be you shouldn't be buying this battalion just because it gets you a single drop because that's what you wanted your list. It should be, oh, those rules are too good, I can't pass them up.
Yeah. Yeah, and definitely right now they're, well, was going to say about Zinch, but definitely those rules are just so good you can't pass them up too. So,
Yes, yeah, definitely. But yeah, so going into battalions, the next part that I had was lower drops automatically going first. What do you think about that in the current edition?
I I don't know. I like that you get the choice right
Yeah,
now. It makes it more of a list building decision. However, it's something that needs to be more of a decision for some armies. See Zinch from a few seconds ago.
yeah.
It's just one of those things that, well, yeah, I'll take all the benefit. Cool. Um,
Now, let me ask:
now
is 40k still the same way where if you have a lower drop, you just get plus one to your roll?
they got rid of the plus one. You get nothing for it now.
I think that might be a little extreme, but
Yeah,
I
I've 40. If Age of Sigmar was to do anything, I would like the plus one or plus
it'd
however
basically be a
many drops.
tiebreaker.
Yeah,
Oh, that's not a
or
bad
you
idea.
get plus however many drops you beat your opponent by, maybe.
That's an interesting idea.
So, okay, I beat you by two, so I get a plus two, but there's still a chance that you get to choose instead of me.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting idea. Um, okay, so a little bit of a hard shift here over to charging. Um, I like that in 40k you get a bonus, or you get a bonus, a benefit for charging as opposed to being charged.
Right. You get to go before your opponent, most all cases. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like I think that's cool. I wouldn't mind seeing that. The only problem I have with it is it does kind of break the you go I go sort of thing.
Right.
But I mean,
Um.
there's been worse things.
Right. There are. I don't know if how Age of Sigmar, because it is much more of a close combat focused game than 40k is.
Yeah,
So doing that would, I feel like, much more heavily skew the game than it does in 40k.
yeah, yeah. Like I said,
If anything, maybe getting an extra unit to select first on the turn you charged. So I charged with all these units, and of those units, I can choose two for the first activation.
That's not a bad idea.
So I charge you with 5 things. I get to
Or
pick
maybe,
two, and then we go to you go, I
or
go.
maybe to make it easier, just kind of take the 40k light, where out of all of your charged units, you can pick one to fight at the end of the combat phase or something.
Yeah, yeah, okay, possibly.
I don't know, maybe plus one to hit, or increase rend
Yeah,
by
some
one.
sort of benefit.
And
Right,
and heck, that could maybe even be something that's in the army. Like that could be part of the
right,
allegiance ability for when you charge, this army gets this bonus, or this
right.
unit gets something.
That's one of those things, though. So many of our war scrolls already have it built into them too in Age of Sigmar.
Yeah. Well, again, that's the problem is there's so many that have no benefit, and there's some that have
Right,
massive benefits.
right.
Well, let me ask. So I kind of skipped over the question. Do you feel that there should be some sort of benefit for charging?
It definitely. I feel like I want to be incentivized to charge with 2 units more often because there are times that I go, okay, I'm going to charge into here. I'm going to charge into here. But if I charge both of these, one of these units might just die before I ever get the chance to do anything with it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, that just comes down to are you smart enough to charge where you should and fight where you should? Sure. But boy, does it feel bad when you're like, okay, I got positioning. I get to be the one that makes the charge. Oh, wait, no, because Fred and George over there charged as well. I'm going to wait while they swing. And then this guy I just ran into is going to kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels bad.
All right. So here's kind of an off the wall one that I have that I feel like would be. I don't know how it would play out, but for shooting, because a lot of people complain about shooting.
Okay.
I feel like unless the model has flying, you can't shoot a model with an equal size base or smaller if they are behind, like say Fire Slayers is a perfect example of this.
Okay.
So, and this is actually where I came up from this. So I was at a tournament and I had to wrap my I actually had Volkite at the time. Wrapped a giant line of Volkite going around a building, and I had a Rune Master at the end of the line. And so someone had a Skaven who's just so again everything's on the same level, everything is all lined up, and it was those Jezzails, and it literally he was like, "I'm gonna shoot the Rune Master," and I'm like, "Okay." So those rats are literally shooting through 12 Volkites to hit
Going mowing past all their mohawks and just beaming the guy in the back.
right.
Yeah.
And I think that you would have to balance it. You'd have to balance it. It can't just be as I presented here. I leave that to wiser minds. But I feel like we could probably do away with Lookout Sir or something like that if it was, or maybe Lookout Sir is only for, as part of Lookout Sir. Where it's like,
Right.
okay, I'm literally the same size as you. We are the same model essentially, except for I'm in charge. So they shouldn't be able to shoot through you to get to me just because it's more beneficial. Uh, that's
Right.
leave that
Now,
for special units to be able to do
I
that.
I present to you what about 40k lookout, sir, and how that works. What do you
So
think of that? For
I
those that might know, basically, if you're within 3 of a friendly unit, that's 5 or 3 or more models, and you're not the closest model, you can be shot. So, what do you think of that?
I think it would be the easiest way to do it. But
Right.
with that being said, I do hate it
That's fair.
because I feel like it makes it a little too easy for the defending model. But at the same time, I know they're trying to get away from that. They're they're trying to minimize the actual line of sight as much as possible.
Right. Yeah, they're
So
trying not to take us straight to a true line of sight.
yeah. So I mean, as far as that goes, I think I would prefer it to as it is now. Um, But then again, though, you still have the problem like that would make the Hag Queen nearly
Good
invincible.
luck. Yeah, yeah. Good luck. Now, I think you would probably have to go to a higher model count than you do in 40k. I think in 40k, it's if he's near 3 models that are
Yeah,
friendly, you'd probably have to bump that up to 5 or so for Age of Sigmar,
yeah. Well,
just because shooting's so much more rare.
yeah, agreed, agreed. Um, yeah, like I said, I definitely think there needs to be some sort of something. I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know it either because that -1 to hit just I don't
Doesn't
know.
do
There are
anything.
times it doesn't feel like it's enough. Yeah,
Yeah,
if you're a shooting army, you don't care. If you're one of those people that hey, I just so happen to have this one shot, yeah, you're always gonna miss because that guy has the -1.
yeah.
So
Well, I said I've played my Fire Slayers against KO second edition 4 times.
okay,
Every time, all they do is go, "I'm gonna go for the hero." Okay, that hero's dead. All right, good game.
yeah, yeah, there went all your synergy. That was fun.
Um, so we'll see. We'll see what's in store. Um,
Yeah,
Now moving on to the stuff that one of the topics you brought up here was more universal rules.
yeah. So especially whenever we get into things like we have the activation wars. Suppose it doesn't affect as many people, but for fighting at the start of a combat phase, we have that in a lot of books. It's all written slightly differently.
Yeah,
It would be nice if we gave a, I want to say like a keyword or something of that sort that you would then go into the book and say, okay, this is how it's worded for every single unit with this ability.
I
I don't
agree.
have to wonder how this person's version of it interacts with my version of it anymore, which quite a few of us in this community, I feel like, have figured out, and it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
But especially for the newer player, this would be, I think, a big boon of, hey, both of our rules, they sound very similar, but they're written slightly different. So what do I do?
Yeah, I agree completely. Like I said, like specifically talking about the activation wars, there should just be a term or something of I attack before combat starts,
Right.
and so
There should be
then
an old always strikes first type thing.
right, and so if it's my turn and I have a unit that always strikes first, and you have a unit that always strikes first, then we go, okay, we look at the book, it says, okay, if if 2 units have always strikes first, the player whose turn it is goes first, no matter what.
Right.
And then after everything is resolved, then continue combat like normal. You
Yep.
know, but I think that some other things like the ward saves, did we finally get a universal term for that now?
I honestly do not know. I would have to do some scouring to see whether or not we got a word.
But yeah, I think it's time.
Yeah,
I think it's
agreed.
time. Whether it's save after the save, ward save, I forget some of the other terms. Um, but can we just pick one?
Yeah.
And so that way we don't have to have the you can make another save if this save of the wound of the thing with the okay, all right. I don't understand what
Yeah.
you just said. I just know what it means. Like
Yeah. Whenever that came out in the General's Handbook, it took me a few reads to be like, oh, okay, I think I see what they're trying to prevent us from doing now. Got it.
yeah. And previously, like I said, I had endless prayers here. I said it's
Right.
time to make them a keyword because I don't need the Sons of Bahamut FAQ getting updated every time a new model comes out that has an endless prayer.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah.
Because I saw that and I was like, ooh, what am I getting? Oh,
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There you go. What's another one I see in the note here, like for shields and all that?
shields.
They've all shields, banners, things
Yeah.
unit champions, all those things are slowly becoming universal. Um, Even if you just make it universal between Grand Alliance, maybe different Grand Alliance, they have different
Or
abilities or something like that.
even if there's just a single pool of abilities. Um,
Yeah,
so that way you even if so like shield is like a really good go-to one for me because like
right.
shields do so many damn things.
Yeah,
Like If you give them to Marauders, they get +1 to save. If you give them to a Stormcast, they can reroll saves of 1. If you give them to a Dispossessed, they can reroll all failed saves if they didn't move.
Right.
If you give them to a Seraphon, then they ignore Rend 1.
Yeah. Yeah. That is that's a lot. And
Like,
yeah.
I feel like if it is set, like, okay, here's a guy, and personally, I'm not a fan of here's a shield +1 save.
Okay.
I'm personally not a fan of that. However, it is the most simple. I would personally be more a fan of reroll fail saves. Like, it's basically like if you have a shield, reroll fail saves.
Okay.
And again, and that should just be kind of like for your standard troop. Of course, if you have like, you know, super liberators come out or something, of course
Right.
they're going to have something a little bit more specialized with their shield. But I should be able to look at a unit that has a choice of having a shield, not having a shield, and
And
even
not
if
need to read what that does. Yeah.
right, even if I don't know what the war scroll is, I have a clue as to what I'm up against.
Right. Yeah. Either you took the second hand weapon that gives you reroll ones, or you took the shield that gives you reroll saves. One of the two.
Right. And also, by the way, I'm not a huge fan of reroll roll of 1
No?
because I'm a master of rolling 2s.
Ah. Well, see, you just need to roll worse, and that'll help you.
Worse or better, either one would be fine. Like,
Yes. Just stop rolling twos. Okay.
yeah. So that was my list. Do you have anything you would like to add to it?
I'm going through. I don't see anything I can think of. We hit every phase of this game essentially, except for like the hero phase. But I don't think
In all
anyone in
honesty,
particular.
I think the hero phase is fine as is.
Yeah. No, I agree. I almost wanted to say something about separating command abilities and spells and prayers, but I don't think that needs to happen. Honestly, there's nothing really overly broken that happens with the layering of those right now.
Yeah.
So, hero phase seems fine to me. Um, yeah, I really don't see anything.
Oh, honorable mention. If there's a way that we can have viable foot heroes again, that would be nice.
Yeah, yeah, just some way that I can make some really cool 5, 6 wound hero that just does his thing. That'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And you know, one thing that's really funny, one that'll that I want to keep going to is like universally better armor saves. But what's funny is, so I look
Ooh.
at that and I go, man, if the game was just 3s and 4s instead of 4s and 5s most of the time, you know, you could really get some work done. But I watch other people's games,
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, when other people have a 3-up save, nothing goes anywhere.
right.
When I
Yeah, the
have a
game
3-up save, my unit's gone in 2 turns.
exactly. It's do you want to play along Age of Sigmar or not?
Yeah, like I said, I would prefer to have smaller units that last longer
Right.
as my preference. Like I said, I mean, if they could make it, and this would also require a battle tome update, but who knows if that'll
Right.
ever
This would be
happen.
a huge update to do.
If we could get somewhere between 3 to 5 Stormcast, and you look at that and go, shit.
Yeah. No, you're thinking like in hey, what are they? The Custodes.
Yeah.
You rock up with 20 models and somebody goes, "Oh no, this is gonna be rough."
So speaking of that, I actually have my list is Custodes with Gulliman.
Ooh, yeah, that's fun.
So I'm
That's a
like,
nice small model count army.
yeah, I'm like that's my thing. Well, so I used to play Grey Knights, but I loved Terminator armor, Grey Knights, but like I don't know, Primaris has just really taken a lot of wind out of that sail for me.
No, I understand that entirely. It was nice whenever they gave him a couple more wounds recently,
Yeah.
but
Have
it,
you seen the any of like people doing fan art, like incredibly professional quality fan art of Primaris Grey Knights?
no, I haven't. I'll have to look around now.
Yeah. After this, go ahead and let's do yourself a favor and do a little bit of the Google, uh, and it's like, come on, GW, let's chop chop.
Awesome.
But all
Yeah,
right, so I think we had a hella productive show. We've looks like we just broke the 2 hour mark here. So anyone that's still listening, I take my hat off for you, good sir. That's or
very
madam.
good painting session. Very good painting session.
I hope you stretched. Hope you stood up and walked around a little bit.
Yeah. Hope you hit pause at some point. Oh, you poor soul.
But I think we had a great conversation. I think we really got into nuts and bolts of it. This is really what I was hoping for with the show. Chuck, I know you're not listening at this point, but stop picking stuff up and putting things down. Use the biggest brain. Or no, that's good. Never
Oh,
mind. Good
jeez.
luck, Chuck. Good luck, Chuck. Don't pull anything else. All right. Do you want to plug anything?
I guess if you want to go over to my Twitter, you can find me over at C McGunnan. Really don't have anything going on over there at the moment. Hopefully, I'm painting a lot of Idneth and that will change soon.
Yeah.
So,
Again, as always, I guess you can always use more members. So anyone in the driving distance of Ligonier, PA, reach out to them, whether on Ligonier Legion at Facebook or even on Twitter.
yeah, we'd love to have you down. Get some more people down there. It's the more the better.
And of
Especially,
course, for my area, we're just starting up a new club in our area, Fabricator Forge. You can find it on Facebook. Reach out to Dom. He's a great guy. He's doing the Emperor's work.
yeah, no, that's a great place now in Pittsburgh. I loved it.
All right, and with that, we'll see you next month with another episode of the Power Hour. Probably, I heard a rumor that it might actually even be somehow better than this episode, but we'll wait and see. Other than that,
Impossible. Fake news.
you'll hear from me again in about 2 weeks, whenever we do the main Strength Hammer episode. Who knows what Chuck's going to come up with for that? Um, yeah, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Next episode, I might be solo. I might bring Cole back. We might have another guest. Who knows what the winds hold us? So thank you and have a good night, guys.